And last night I had explained to the Senate the practical difficulty we find ourselves in, that we were here up to around midnight. We had to steal a few hours of rest and now are here again. And you must terminate your proceedings today. So it is not humanly possible for us to place those materials on record between now and the time this trial ends. So in the circumstances, we pray for two options subject to whatever finds favor with you. One, we could place the material on record later on after we adjourn today. That will give problems that the other side might equally tell you they have not seen it, it has not been tested before this forum, so that will raise its own problems. Alternatively, you could allow us, as we cross-examine the witnesses called by the governor, to cross-examine on those additional materials, and tied to that, you could excuse us, so that, because my concern when I was raising the issue is I didn't want the record to reflect that I was given the opportunity to file additional material, but I did not take up that opportunity when the reason for my failure to take it is that it was humanly impossible within the time frames fixed by law. That was the request, Chair.
The counsel for the governor.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman and Honorable Committee. The representative for the governor, as yesterday, my name is Manasseh Mwangi, the lead counsel. We appear together with Mr. Elias Mutuma and Mr. Robert Mutebei. On our part, we do not have any procedural issue that would like to address at this point. However, I would like to respond to the issue raised by the counsel for the County Assembly with the kind permission of Honorable Chair. Yesterday, the team for the governor supplied materials and a supplementary affidavit, which was allowed. It had been served on the counsel for the County Assembly the day before yesterday. In the course of arguing whether or not those materials should be placed on record, the counsel for the County Assembly indicated they had perused through those materials and they had seen there is nothing in it and they would add no value. They were all aware, all along, what is the contents of the evidentiary materials that we added in these proceedings. Honorable Chairman, we are opposed to the two suggestions that the counsel for the County Assembly invites this committee to allow them to exercise. One, they had an opportunity to address those materials yesterday in the course of fielding their witnesses. They would have referred their witnesses to the materials that were new and let them comment, trashing them. In fact, that happened after the examination in chief, and towards the end of that part of examination in chief, the witnesses for the County Assembly were taken through the bundles of documents produced by the governor. And that was the opportunity for the counsel for the County Assembly to introduce any evidence that would controvert the evidentiary material that was supplied as a supplementary. Honorable Chairman, there was another opportunity and another way out. The counsel for the County Assembly would have prayed and made an application before this committee and request to be allowed to field a witness, either with a very short witness statement and the rest of the testimony be taken on oath from the witness stand. And Honorable Chairman, we heard yesterday so many witnesses who came and departed from the witness statements they had supplied us, and they gave totally new evidence. We did not object to that. They had that opportunity, and they did not exercise it. If material is introduced after we have closed our case, the counsel for the county assembly states it rightly. We will never have an opportunity or even knowing what is the nature of those materials. This morning, this committee has not been told what are the materials that are intended to be introduced. What is the value of those materials to the case for the county assembly? And what will be the importance of those materials in controverting any defense that the governor may field? This committee, just the same as the counsel for the governors, we do not know what materials we are being told is going to be introduced later. It is not even suggested by way of passing, even from the stand by the council, what kind of materials will be supplied. We object to the suggestion and the invitation to crawl in the darkness to agree to materials which we do not know what they contain. The last option, that in the course of cross-examination, new evidence can be introduced. I have already stated that opportunity was available yesterday, and they had all the documents and all that evidence that the governor is fielding today. They could have done that in the course of examination in chief and re-examination. They take through their witnesses through all our statements and affidavits, and they allow them controvert. We cannot allow introduction of evidence at the defense hearing. And there will be a legal, the last point, there will be a legal dilemma. That evidence that will be introduced through cross-examination, will it be the testimony of the county assembly or the testimony of the counsel for the county assembly? That can be a dilemma that cannot be addressed in law, and it's unheard of. We object to those proposals. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Members, just take note. I want us to exhaust completely so that when you come in, it now invites me to make a ruling. Mr. Muthomi Thia Ngolu, what is your take?
Chair, I think my colleague has forgotten a number of things. One, you already made the decision to allow us to respond to that material. That decision, I don't think, is being appealed or revisited. It has been made. The reason I made the request I made before you is that although you granted me that leave, it is evident to everyone who has either been here or following these proceedings that me and my entire team was stuck here all way past midnight. And although on paper the chair gave me the opportunity, it has not been humanly possible for me to take that opportunity. And I told you my fear is that whereas it is humanly impossible, I am afraid when your committee retreats, it will have in its mind that I was given an opportunity that I didn't take up, and yet the reason I didn't take it up was that it was humanly impossible within the circumstances and context we were working. Number two, listening to the high moral ground taken by my colleague, he forgets my colleague has forgotten how we got here. And if I remind the Senate how we got here, is that the governor filed documents out of time. The registry, the clerk's office advised the governor, you're filing these documents out of time, we cannot accept them. Go to the committee, seek leave to have these documents admitted on the record. And the committee gave him that leave. No one can fault the committee for that, except that immediately he was given that leave and the documents were treated. It tells you they were served on us. What he hasn't told you on the record, which I told you yesterday, he not only filed them outside the time set by your rules, he actually purported to serve them way past 5 p.m. on the day after the expiry of his deadline. And I remember telling you, we saw those documents yesterday morning as we were packing our bundles. It tells you because I made certain passing comments on those documents, it is clear, therefore, I have had the opportunity to reflect on them. Chair, that is not how it works. In our profession, what I would do if we were in an ideal situation, and this is not ideal because of the timelines, is that my team and I will sit down, go through those documents with a tooth comb, flag what we believe are the issues, take instructions from our client, the county assembly, and based on our reflections and the instructions we get, we will then be able to decide what response, what position do we take. Things I took on the bar here studying extempore cannot really be taken. My colleague knows that's not how the legal profession works. And at any rate, Chair, for me, if you assure me that this human impossibility my team and I are placed in will not be used against us, then there is not an issue.
You've met your point. Members, I want now to make a ruling. If any one of you would like to help us a little bit by sharing his thoughts, these things must be done in the open. Yes.
Chair, I thank you, and I want to just support what the Council for the County Assembly has said. Mr. Chairman, in my position, I don't think that Council for the Governor has any standing to raise the objection that he raised. And I'm happy that Council for the Assembly has reminded him how we got here. I'm looking at my notes, Chair. The items that were introduced, they told us they omitted 3 affidavits from their own bundle. Then one video that forms part of the record was not uploaded, or they gave the wrong flash disk. They are not in any position to raise the objection that they are raising. I do not see any prejudice that would be suffered by the governor if Council for the County Assembly was allowed to cross-examine on this material that we very graciously accepted ourselves as a committee. And you remember, Chair, the thinking was that in these proceedings we would like as much material as possible placed before this committee so that we can help save the situation in the county of Meru. So I think from where I sit, Council for the Governor is out of order with that objection, Mr. Chair.
Chairman. Arif? Yes, very quickly, Chairman, the position by the Council of the County Assembly is the true position, because that is the point at which we closed last night, and that was already granted. It's not a new request that is being processed, but a request that has already been granted as it is, and in the actual sense from the proceedings of yesterday, the favor was extended by the County Assembly, legal team, by not objecting but allowing that to happen. And if they don't have time now, I think the cross-examination should be given the opportunity for them to do what needs to be done. And that ruling happened yesterday. It's not a new ruling.
Yes, Vice Chair, you'll come after Senator Moruma.
Sorry, Chair. What I wanted to raise has been raised by Senator already, Ali, Roba, that the decision for
Moruma, if you give me 2 minutes, just hold it here.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to state that what Senator Ali has said is that the decision was made yesterday, that the counsel for the MCAs can respond to the affidavits and the extra video during the cross-examination. That's it.
Yes, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to confirm that, and I think that is where we stopped yesterday, by them being allowed to cross-examine the counsel for the county assemblies of Meru, the new evidence, the new affidavit that the governor's people brought in. So they should be allowed to cross-examine, and that you ruled yesterday, Chair. It's not.
Kiambu.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning. I would just want to remind the Council of the Governor, of which the Governor is a bishop, that in the Bible, book of Matthew, there was a servant who was forgiven his debts, but later on he went to get the money from another servant whom he owed. So what I'm trying to say is that yesterday we allowed the governor to produce extra. We actually give them evidential flexibility, but now they don't want the side of the assembly to execute that evidence. But my question is, at what time do we allow the assembly to execute that evidence? I said before the governor starts executing their case, or is it within? I know they're asking when it's coming to cross-examination. So I have not consulted my friend lawyer here, Sifuna, but I'm putting this across so that we see what is the best part. Either we agree with the assembly, they start with their case now, or whatever you decide, Chairman.
That is it. Mandago, you have something?
Thank you very much, Chair. This is Senator Mandago for Wasingisha, and my apologies, I was not able to be here yesterday, but I followed the proceedings very keenly. Mr. Chairman, listening to the counsel for the governor, I really don't understand why, if they are confident themselves when they submitted this additional evidence, as to why the county assembly council cannot prosecute the same. So I think in the interest of fairness, because we want to have as much information as possible as a committee to enable us make a fair and just decision, as a chairman, I think it's only fair that the county assembly council is given opportunity to look at the, to cross-examine this new evidence.
Thank you. Senator Tobiko.
Chair, I think maybe, you know, what is clear, of course, that it was already allowed yesterday to be done at cross-examination.